All right, welcome back this afternoon. You probably noticed the haircut. I was getting scraggly, man, so I had to cut that mess off. So let's dive in on this tonight, though. So I have went back through the Holley instructions tonight. So it is Thursday night, and after working on this thing Wednesday night, I uploaded the video. It actually just premiered because it's Thursday night, so Wednesday night's video just went off tonight. And we're in the comments, a couple of us are chatting back and forth. I have sorted a lot of this stuff out. So I was able to, pretty much when I put the camera down last night, so when that video stops, that's pretty much where I stopped working for the night. And when I went to close the door last night to go inside, right before it, I looked back and I was like, well, wow, after you hook up a couple of items, push a couple sensors here and there that you know where they're going, there really ain't much left. So I feel pretty decent. I have a handful of items that are probably gonna need to be wired. So that's where I'm hoping to get John's help. I'm hoping me and him can work something out in the future. So with that said, I will flip the camera around and show y'all what I have for this afternoon. All right, so where we left off last night, we got this wire right here tucked back because that is the IAC that I'm not using. We have the 4-pin IAC, which I will be using. It plugs into the throttle body, the one that I have now. And then we have the TPS. The TPS is a problem. It does not plug in like I spoke about in the last video. I haven't figured that one out yet, what I need to make this work, or if I have to rewire that. So the connector is the only thing in question. Location is not in question. This one right here is going to go to the oil pressure. Okay, that's going to be your oil pressure. I have added the correct oil pressure sensor to my cart. I'm going to get it off Low Dollar. I do have a cheap eBay one here that I am going to go ahead and finger tight thread into the port tonight so that I can plug it in, and then I can route my wire so I can go ahead and zip tie this wire up and get this wire done. I'm basically off camera just going to start folding these back. So these are taken care of. I know what's going on with all this. Let's see here. The MAT sensor, I got to look up what that is real fast, and the MAF. I'm not using the MAF. I did look back in our email where I spoke with Kevin from TKM, and he said that the MAF sensor is not needed for my application. So that's going to get zip tied up. The only thing I have to Google real fast is the MAT and see if that's in question. So that line right there is just one sensor that's in question. If we come over here, let's see here, this one's a fuel pressure, so obviously we know what that is. I'm about to put in the order for the fuel pressure regulator. I spoke with Aeromotive today and got the details for the correct fuel pressure regulator for my system with the secondary fuel pump that I'm running, that TKM recommended me running. So all of them are accounted for. When you go back here, you have the cam sensor, which is plugged in. That's going to be a B1 intake cam sensor. And then we have, let's see here, this little sensor, which is the CTS-CHT. That's going to be the coolant temperature sensor, or the coolant head temperature sensor. I can't get it plugged in because I have a motor plate issue right here. And me and Mike were discussing this today. We will be taking transmission out at the shop when torque converter comes in, and we'll be trimming this motor plate back so I can get to that sensor, and at that time I will plug it in. The crank signal sensor goes down there too. So them sensors are taken care of, and so that's everything under the hood. Okay, so ground, that's it. So we're done right here. So we only have one thing to Google when I cut the camera off to figure out what that is, and then tuck the other one back and then start routing. So that's done. That went pretty easy. I was a little, overwhelmed at first. Let's see here. Let's come in here. Let's cut on the light. All right, so if we come in here tonight, we are going to get all of this wiring mess tucked up. So these, of course, plug into the Dominator. This is going to be the VVT plug we don't need, so that's going to be nothing. Let's see here. Ignition module and ignition module. I do have to reach back out to Skinny with TKM. He does have my coal drivers on back order, he said. So I'm curious if That has to do something with these plugs. This is another ignition module out. This is ignition module in. This is ignition module in. This is ignition module out. So both of these right here are ignition modules. So I'm not sure if that's what he meant by cold drivers or not. I'm not going to hit him up after hours out of respect to him. I will wait till tomorrow. Here's a relay that we need to get mounted up. Let's see here. That's a fuse. Then this, that's a input-output harness. So I think that's just the one that comes with this system when you don't have the extras, I believe. This is going to be a Turbo John department or somebody else department. This is not going to be me, you know, adding on to that. Same thing with this. This is that power tap. So in the instructions, this says that basically this is a convenient area to add on. So if you're doing add-ons, basically, this is basically an extra plug. And if you're not using either one of these, it says to keep them capped. So I don't think these are necessarily needed to fire the engine. There's something right here, loose leads that emerge closer to a fuse relay. Yeah, these right here are going to be, I think, needed to run. So we've got to hook these up. These should be pretty simple. So we're looking for a red, white, red, green, blue, white. So red, white, blue, green, pretty much. So that's going to be right there. Okay. So that's pretty self-explanatory, pretty simple. So we can untape this, and when we tuck this all up here, we can run this, you know, just off to the side for right now, and then sort that out later. This is your CAN bus plug. This is if you're running CAN bus accessories. We're not running that. So basically, I don't really have to do much with this. You know, sort out this with TKM, run this to what it says. It's like switch ignition. That stuff's pretty basic. And then, yeah, we went over in the last video for the oxygen sensor. We need to get that underneath the car. And then that's going to be for the map. So we need to get that mounted. So pretty simple stuff. And then the other plugs up there are going to be for your, you know, injectors, and your coils are going to plug into this. So that's going to be the plug that runs through the firewall to plug that in. So pretty self-explanatory. It's going to be some off-camera work. I'm going to get these wires ran all nice and neat, try to get everything underneath this. All right, so from what I'm understanding, the MAT is manifold air temperature. I was reading on some Google, and it seemed like that should go before the blower. The air temperature is coming into the blower, and then on this system, my idle air control sensor would read the air coming into the motor, is kind of what I was taking it as. But now I'm thinking, from what I'm being, I actually hit Turbo John up, and he said that the MAT sensor, I can basically put it anywhere, and then I can put it in the bottom of the intake air manifold if I wanted to. So yeah, trying to sort out like all them sensors, because see, some of this stuff just don't make sense to me, because I thought my IAC was reading the air coming into the motor, but then to put the MAT like right there, you know, a couple inches past it, to me don't make sense. But maybe it's not reading the air temperature. Maybe just that's what the MAT is reading, is just pure T, the air temperature, and the IAC is just controlling the idle or something. This is where it's out of my league and I don't understand stuff, so I just kind of have to ask somebody a question, and what they tell me, I just kind of have to do it, because I don't necessarily understand the whole thing behind it per se. All right, so I have made a little bit of progress in here. It probably don't even look like nothing, but when you're trying to route a pre-made harness, you're like trying it here, you're trying it here, you're trying it here, you're changing it, mounting it here, changing it, until you can finally get it to snake and lay the way you want it, so that hopefully the end goal is that it will look like it was a custom made harness, but also be easy to get to and secure, and not in the way of feet or sitting on it or tearing it or sharp objects or anything like that. So let me show y'all what we got, and y'all let me know what you think. Here is what we got. So of course it, you know, comes in there like normal. We've already discussed this. So I have got this just laid up here right now. These all have to be wired up, and then that's how it runs up to the Dominator. So the Dominator was flipped around like this. I had it nutserted there and there. I do not have nutserts in this yet. I actually have to order some more, but I had it like that. And what that was creating is the wire coming down and then looping in this side. So the wire was coming down, looping in this side, and making, you know, we only got so much wire to work with. So it was like literally running like this and then laid and went up in there. So I just wasn't happy with it. I stared at it. I moved it around, and it just wasn't going to fly for me. So it dawned on me. I said, well, I just need to flip the Dominator around so that it's plugging in from this side. So if you have an item, you know, and your plug is here, and you have to make a loop, obviously a shorter point A to point B would be turn the item around, you know, and then that gets you a whole lot more wire. So that's what we have done. I also come in here and wrapped all of this up with Tessa tape. So I have wrapped it with Tessa tape all the way through here, so there's no wire showing, and there's no you know, electrical tape here, the loom here, electrical tape here, so it looks uniform. Okay, I wanted it all to look uniform, and I probably won't mess with wrapping all these up because the seat will be in here and it will cover all this up. You have your fuse right here that's built into the Holley harness, and then you have your relay right here. So I'm thinking once I put these screws back in here, which I'm gonna wait till, because I need to get some wire loom on this whenever I lay this out where this is gonna go. But I'll screw this back in, and I'm thinking I will probably mount the fuse up somewhere like this, but probably definitely mount the relay, you know, nutsert it so that it mounts to that aluminum bracket right there. I have it where it runs right here. You got this little pigtail right here that you can barely see. That is for your VVT. Mine's all locked out, so I actually have it tucked up underneath this bracket. This bracket holds a fire bottle or fire extinguisher, not a fire bottle. It's just a fire extinguisher in case, you know, you need to pull something out by hand. And then, you know, Dominator's turned around, and then that way it feeds in on this side. So I have a P-clamp right here. So, I mean, this thing is not going nowhere. It's not moving or anything. And not only is it wrapped with the wire loom from Holley, but then it's also wrapped with Tessa tape. And all of these edges on, you know, here are smoothed out with a grinder before I built these pieces, and then these are actually powder coated. I powder coated these at the shop. I do powder coating on small items. So I don't think we're gonna have any problems with any wires rubbing holes through them or anything shorting out. I mean, this thing is like, I mean, you really have to fight to move this thing. It's laying in there pretty freaking good. And I had thought about, and I might move it, is I was gonna originally lay the wire up on top of here with a P-clamp to this. And, you know, I might still decide to go back and do that. I just didn't want to do it tonight and make metal shavings in here, really. I will drill this and this one at the same time, so there's less to clean up. But these are your, we went over it earlier, you know, your, what were they called? Modules in and out, module ins and outs. Whenever I get the pieces that plug into here, hoping they have pigtails, because if you remember in a later video, we put a carbon panel inside the console. So these will actually, if you look, let's see, they'll go right up inside here in this console. It's all hollow, and that would be amazing if they do have a pigtail where we can mount the modules, whatever hooks into that, up here. You know, we can mount them up in here. That way they're up there and plugs are out the way. If they won't mount up in there, they won't reach, then I have plenty of room right here to mount them. And, you know, now that I took that carbon panel out from up there, I can technically reuse it, and I might make a carbon panel that, you know, attaches to here and like here or something where you can mount them on that. That is pretty much that. So the seat, we went over it in the other videos. It simply just bolts in here and here, and simple bolts there, which I want to go back and nutsert these. I'll probably go back and just nutsert all of these possibly, now that I have nutserts. But they just screw right in easy, and then it screws up here to that. So it's not like it don't take but a second to unscrew the seat, and it's a carbon fiber lightweight seat over there. So it's not like it's a big deal to pull it out. If you're working on the car, or if you're at the track, you can literally just leave it out and then throw it back in, you know, at the end or whatever. So I think that's going to work out perfect. You know, your USB plugs into here, and that works out more amazing than it being turned around and back here actually, because now this is your crotch strap, so you literally could plug your USB in and technically come up through the crotch hole in the seat and have the laptop and everything laying in there, you know, or tuck the wire underneath the seat when not in use. But I think that's gonna work out amazing. It's like 10:30, so I've got to call it a night in here for tonight. I'm not gonna keep going late. Try to go give Randy and John and all of them a hand tomorrow and do some things that I want to do on Randy's car. But yeah, that's gonna be a wrap for tonight. This weekend looks like it's gonna be busy with Randy's car, extremely busy. But maybe if I can work some Sunday, or be back out here Monday night, you know, I'd like to get that hole cut. I really love to get that hole cut Sunday, so it's not quiet, you know, at night with Harper asleep and everything. The under here, I think I pretty much just quit on this for tonight. Everything's kind of laid out. I got to put in some order for some stuff tonight, but it's starting to come together. The wiring, I'm starting to get a grasp on it, and finally getting some stuff laid in and figured out. And once we get all this main stuff, hooked, you know, plugged in and everything, then we'll start tying in the dash, trying to get that hooked up, and then I'll probably get John to help me, you know, make the actual wiring connections. I'll take care of what plugs I can, you know, and getting everything laid out. And then hopefully he can just give me a hand with actually making some connections. And before I go to him, I want to get all my body harness wired, hooked up, all the lights working, everything tucked out of the way, so it's kind of not, you know, laying crap over top of crap. Basically, I want, you know, the body harness is designed to be completely separate in my car and on its own little fuse block, you know, just to run the lights and stuff, versus the all the motor and drivetrain stuff. I want it all to be on its own thing. So that's the mini comment update. That's probably going to be a wrap on this thing until next week, just because of Randy's car. I mean, you know, we hope to be in Darlington on Saturday for that. So we'll see what happens. Like, comment, subscribe, share, and I appreciate everything y'all do for me.